open our minds and open our hearts and connect in this little bit of energy together tonight. So you can start by closing down the eyes if that feels comfortable for you. If not, just steady your gaze in one direction. Try not to shift it too much and just start to arrive here. All I'm gonna ask is that you just start to notice the natural rhythm of your breath, knowing that there's no right or wrong way to be breathing in this moment, just to arrive and fully allow yourself to drop in and tune inward. Just finding some inhales and exhales here, just starting to take inventory of where you are at in this moment. Scanning the body, scanning the mind, maybe lingering in those places that you feel a little bit stuck, and allowing that to be okay. Allowing yourself to truly start from where you are tonight, giving yourself full permission to transition from what was in the day to what is now. Maybe deepening your inhales, deepening your exhales. Be gentle with yourself here. Again, scanning the body, checking in with how you feel emotionally, energetically, spiritually, and physically. Knowing that there's no right or wrong way to be feeling, leaning into whatever you're feeling in this exact moment. Dropping all to-do lists, all today's, all tomorrow's, all yesterday's. Allowing yourself to fully tune inward. Taking a few more breaths, and we will begin something called Ujjayi breath, Ujjayi pranayama. I want you to imagine that you are making audible oceanic waves. Mimic the ocean with your breath with a slight restriction of the back of the throat. You can even pull your hand up in front of your face, elongating the inhales, elongating the exhales, deep belly breathing. Imagine you are going to fog up a mirror or a window, breathing in through the nose, out through the nose, knowing that you can always come back to this pranayama. I'm going to challenge you tonight to contemplate on the word release and what that means to you in this moment tonight as we all share some movement and freedom of expression, and to lean into those feelings that may bubble up for you tonight. Acknowledging them, not attaching yourself to them, just letting them be what they are. Can we meet ourselves where we are? Can you start exactly where you are tonight? Giving yourself permission to be kind and gentle, and to enter this movement with grace for yourself and for the practice and for each other, holding this space with one another. As we start to come into the physical movement of this practice, I want us to acknowledge that we are starting from where we are, that we have now transitioned and we are arriving to move slowly into the physical movement of this practice. I know sometimes in a yoga practice or really any type of movement or exercise, it's easy to drop in and just start to do the damn thing, to start trying to do the yoga. But right now, I just want you to focus on your breath. Each inhale, allowing your lungs to expand across the collarbones. And each exhale, allowing you to let go of something. Knowing that in each moment of this practice, you can come back to this Ujjayi pranayama, this breath, this life force that allows you to transcend the mind, the body, and unite them as one moving piece. Taking a few more breaths here, and when you're ready, bring your hands to heart center. Bringing your hands to prayer in front of the heart. A slight bow of the chin downwards. Press into the palms and feel your own touch here. Feel your own touch. Pressing the finger pads, the knuckle pads, and the palms together. And there's this quote that I wanted to share with you guys tonight. Give up all the worlds, places, relationships, jobs, diets, programs, and things you've been trying to force yourself into. You were born to be free, like the falling leaves, like the hummingbird, the lioness, and the honeybee. You're a land-loving mermaid, a dreamer against trees. You are the gatherer, the storyteller, and part of an invisible mystery, invisible proof of magic. And I really love these words because they are a constant reminder for us to shed everything like a dog or like a snake. And even the things that seem like they shouldn't be shed, the things that we might be holding on to with a tight grip, and especially those things that we're holding on to. All of this shedding then releases these pressure valves that are so tightly wound inside of us. And when these valves release, it allows us to feel at home and at ease. There is a sort of magic that comes from emptying. With your hands still at your heart center, continue to feel your own touch, pressing into the palms, feeling your finger pads, knuckle pads, letting your thumbs press into your chest and feel your own heartbeat. And know that there is magic there. You are visible proof of magic. And when you are ready, slowly blink the eyes open. Take a few more moments to just settle in and arrive. And then slowly we will meet on our backs, beginning the physical movement, the physical freedom of expression in a shape called Supta Baddha Konasana. Pressing the soles of the feet together. And if this is uncomfortable for you in any way, please feel free to splay the legs out wide. And we will slowly just roll onto our backs, allowing the knees to fall wide to either side of the mat. Placing the hands above the head, just stretching out through the fingertips. Imagine that your arms are trees, are like the limbs of the trees stretching way out behind you. Allowing the knees to softly be as they are, stretching through the side bodies, just allowing some space to elongate through the spine. Growing longer through the crown of your head with a slight press down of the pelvis, stretching it out in the opposite direction of your fingers. Feel your lungs expand through the collarbones. Feel your breath rising up through the belly, the sternum, and the chest. Just taking a few breaths here. Bringing awareness to your breath, noticing how it feels with your arms above your head, with your body grounded in this supine position. Allowing a gentle opening of the hips, the inner thighs, the inner groin. And on your next exhale, just place your hands onto your belly and slightly bring the knees back, placing the feet underneath the shins, underneath the knees. And we'll just start by taking some slight movements externally and internally through the hips. So just let your knees fall like a windshield wiper over to the right side of your mat. And your knees and your outer thighs may not come down and touch the mat, and that's okay. They probably won't. Just starting to notice that feeling that you get, dropping them over to the left side, and the internal and external rotation of our hips. Starting to bring some mellow movements, waking up the hips and the thighs, bringing some grounding movements into the feet. Allowing ourselves to slowly move into this practice with patience. Just continue moving the knees from the right to the left. Taking a few more here on your own. And the next time your knees fall to the right, go ahead and just gently place your right ankle on top of your left knee, keeping those right and left toes flexed, just adding a little bit more pressure to the outer left hip. Of course, if this doesn't feel comfortable and you were feeling some tension with just dropping the knees, please feel free to keep doing that. Just noticing what it feels like in the internal rotation of your left hip. Sending some breath and awareness down through the hips. And on your next exhale, bring the knees back through center, removing the right ankle from the left knee and letting the knees fall gently over to the left, placing your left ankle on top of your right knee, keeping the toes flexed to protect the knees here. And again, if this is too much for you, please feel free to continue moving the legs in a windshield wiper manner. Noticing the difference between the right and left hip and allowing them to be just that, to be different. One not better than the other, just different, just noticing. Taking inventory of the sensations from this gentle movement. And on your next exhale, gently remove the left ankle from the right knee, bringing the knees back through center, planting the feet down firmly into the mat. And just take a second here to neutralize the spine. And whenever you are ready, just come up to a gentle seat. And we're going to come into something called bear sit. And if you aren't familiar with that, just bring the feet, hips, as wide as your mat, planting them firmly on the ground, just grabbing the fronts of our knees and just let yourself find a comfortable seat here. And if the feet need to be a little bit closer together, that's absolutely okay. And we're just going to start by really gripping the knees and pulling our chest through to shine towards the top of our mat. You can even look up, rolling the shoulders down the back body, finding some length in the spine. And exhale, curl it in, tucking the tailbone slightly to the top of the mat, spreading through the shoulder blades, finding some tension. Tuck the chin and pause here. Allow the scapulas to spread across the back body, breathing into the upper back. An area so easily neglected, so easily forgotten. Allow yourself to send the breath in towards your back body. And on your next inhale, roll the shoulders back down the body, bringing the chest towards the front of the mat, sitting up on the sit bones, pulling that chest through, using your hands to create that tension. And exhale, curl it back in, rounding the spine. Finding some space between the shoulders, allowing the chin to drop towards the chest. Inhale, pulls you back through. Exhale, curls you in. Inhale, pulls your chest through. Exhale, curl it in. And on your next inhale, just sit up straight. You can bring the feet back in front of you. And we're just going to take the same things that we did on our back. We're just going to start to drop the knees towards the right. Back up through center. Drop them over to the left. Back through center. Dropping them over to the right, and try not to let your upper body turn with the legs. See if you can keep your upper body and your torso facing the top of the mat, and see if that changes the tension in the hips at all, or that stretch in the hips at all. Back through center. Drop the knees over to the left. Back through center. And this time, when you drop the knees over to the right, we are going to allow the body to turn all the way towards our right shin. Now, wherever your shin feels comfortable, just make sure you're keeping your toes really flexed here. You can have the shin at a 45, more towards your left, the top of your left thigh, or you can have it out at more of a 90-degree angle. Wherever you start to feel that stretch in the outer hip, allow yourself to go there. And once you find your position, sit up nice and tall, elongate the spine, really think about keeping that spine long, and go ahead and bend forward just a little bit until you feel something interesting. I find that if I turn a little bit over to the right more or over to the left, it does change that sensation throughout the hips. And sometimes I like to take my left palm, place it on the sole of my right foot, and press my foot into my hand and my hand into the foot. And it allows that stretch on the outer right hip to be a little bit deeper. Keeping the crown of the head stretching towards the space in front of you. Finding your breath here again. Where can you send your breath to? The breath has the ability to change the feeling of each stretch. Can you send that breath to your outer hip? Being gentle with yourself here, unclenching the jaw behind your back molars, unfurrowing the eyebrows, releasing the scrunch in your face. Sometimes we can try to take the sensations that we're feeling in our hips and place them in other places. Can you drop the shoulders from the ears? And allow yourself to fully arrive in this seated double pigeon. Take one more inhale here, and exhale presses you back up, bringing the knees gently through the center. If you need more support for the knees, just guide your hands along with them, and we're going to drop over to the left side. Again, keeping the toes nice and flexed here, finding that position of the shin, of the top left shin. And just find a feeling that's interesting. Find a line of tension. It doesn't have to be your deepest position. Just allow the hips to slowly wake up. Pressing down through the outer edges, the outer edge of your left foot, inner edge of your right foot, and start to fold down. Not moving too quickly, allowing the left hip to warm itself up. Maybe bringing the hands to the right or swinging them over to the left, just finding those different lines of tension. Breathing deeply here. Just noticing the differences. Maybe one hip's a little tighter. For me, my left is slightly tighter than my right hip. Just a few more breaths here. And when you are ready, gently allow yourself to come back up through center, bringing the shins and the knees and the feet together, and taking those same few movements in the bear sit, just with our feet together to give a little bit of a different sensation. Pull the chest up towards the knees. And exhale, curl the spine back, tucking the chin, slight tuck of the tailbone. And one more time, just like that, inhaling, rolling the shoulders down the back body. Maybe you look up. And exhale, curl it all in. Take a breath here. Inhale. And exhale here. And when you are ready, we're going to meet on our hands and knees in tabletop position. And this is a moment in the practice that I really like to just integrate some freedom of movement. You can start by shifting the shoulders over the wrist, pressing firmly down into your hands, allowing the hips to move in space, just creating that space here, moving that stagnant energy, maybe barrel rolling through the spine, just allowing yourself to do what your body needs. We have the added benefit tonight of being at home and not feeling like this is an awkward moment in the class. Maybe taking some cat-cows here, pulling the chest through, same movements we took sitting down, and pressing, spreading space through the scapulas. Just creating that movement, allowing yourself some nourishing moments before we get into some flowy sequence. Waking up the spine, moving from side to side. And when you are ready, coming back through center, taking a moment to reintegrate the spine and allowing your hands to stack under your shoulders, stack underneath your wrists, allowing the knees to stack underneath your hips. And then when you're ready, bring your right foot directly out to the side, the right side of your mat, allowing the toes to do whatever you feel comfortable. And just again, find some space and keep moving here. You can bend into the knee, you can straighten it, you can keep the toes flexed and up. I find that if I press down through the outer edge of my right foot and big toe, and I stay strong through my right leg, that it does start to create some tension on the inner thighs. Just finding some space here, maybe rolling out over top of the wrist, starting to get into those. Just create some movement and keep moving. In yoga, there's a lot of times where we want to fidget to avoid the poses. I like to continuously move and let those fidgets be intentional. Let them be something that is going to benefit you, creating space, cultivating some inner energies within. heating up the body. And on your next exhale, go ahead and step that right knee back underneath and just switch your sides. Again, just keep moving, finding some space in that hip, in the inner thigh, the outer ankle, pressing down through the outer edge of your right or left foot and left big toe. Staying strong in that left leg, a slight bend in the knee, if that feels more comfortable. Just a few more breaths here. Take your time and we'll slide that left knee back underneath. And we're just going to take a few cat-cows together just to reintegrate the spine, pressing firmly down through your hands, firmly down through your knees. Toes can be tucked or untucked, up to you. And on your next inhale, pull the chest through once more, flicking the tailbone up to the sky, and exhale, curl everything in, pressing down firmly through the hands. Inhale, pulls the chest forward, dropping the belly towards the earth. Exhale, press the hands away. One more here. Inhale, shines the heart forward. Exhale, press the earth away. Take a pause here. Inhale, and exhale, press down through the hands, spreading through the scapula. And inhale brings you back to center. And we're simply just going to flip the grip of our hand. So just turn the fingers towards the left and right sides of your mat and just start to sway back and forth, getting into the wrists here a bit. Maybe flipping the fingers towards the knees, palms face the earth. Maybe staying here, or you can sit back to your heels just a bit to find that tension in the forearms. Sitting back to the heels, and I want you to press the knuckles together. So make fists with the hands and press the knuckles. Thumbs are going to be facing towards you, and press them together, and then place the backs of the hands back onto the mat. Keep squeezing those fists together and pressing the hands together, and you'll start to feel a sort of tension on the outer side or the upper side of your arms. Your fingers might want to do a lot of weird stuff here, and that's okay. That just is getting into the fascia of the forearm, something that is also easily neglected so much in our daily lives, when we really should be focusing on the strength and the flexibility of our hands and wrists and fingers, since they are constantly doing so much for us throughout the day. They really are a powerhouse, our hands are. Take a few more breaths here. And when you are ready, we are going to meet in downward facing dog. Pressing into the hands, pressing into the toes, and press back and up. And you can absolutely stay on your toes here. The heels do not have to reach the ground. Just keep pressing through the hands, pressing through the feet. Maybe you bend your knees here. Make it easier on the arms and pull some of that weight up into the legs. Pull the shins into the thighs, thighs into the hip sockets. And we're just going to take a few vinyasas to begin. Now, these are, if you're familiar with a vinyasa, these are going to be a little bit different variation. So just listen closely, watch me if you have to. We're going to rise up onto the toes, pressing down through the hands, bend the knees, and then with a slight tuck of the tailbone, roll the spine all the way forward, coming into the top of a plank. Reach the chest out and then lower yourself to the ground, all one piece. When you get there, float the hands back behind you, lift up the hands, float the feet, roll the shoulders down the back body, coming into our locust pose, and exhale, release. Hands back down to the mat, toes tucked, press back through your hands, back through child's pose, and just pause here for a moment. That is a modification of a vinyasa in the Awakening Yoga solar practice. Feel free at any time we take a vinyasa to take one just like that. And on your next breath, press back to down dog. Again, pressing through the hands here, pressing through the feet, bending the knees. Inhale, lift up high onto the toes. Bend the knees and exhale, undulate the spine forward, coming into the top of a plank position. Drop the knees. Take a full push-up from the knees here if that serves you right now. Press back up, sit back to the heels, drop the forearms, and on your next inhale, pull your heart and chest through to upward facing dog. You can keep the knees down, lift them up if that feels good. And exhale brings you back to downward facing dog. Beautiful job, everybody. You just completed 2 vinyasas. We're going to move on to the Awakening A's. It is a variation of a sun salutation A. So we'll just start by lifting the right leg up to the sky. Exhale, pulls the right knee into the chest. Exhaling all the way, bringing the right foot to the outside of the right hand. Drop the back left knee. Pressing down through the left hand, spin and open up through the chest, bringing the right hand up to the sky. Pause. Feel this little twist germinating through the upper and middle back. Taking a few inhales, exhales here, just letting this pose infuse to the body. And exhale, bring the right hand back to the mat, stamp down into your right foot, lift the back knee, and big step, left foot all the way to the outside of your left hand. Pause. On your next inhale, spread the knees as wide as you can, using the glutes to activate the thighs here. Inhale, hands in front of your face. Active squat. Exhale, pulls the hands to heart center. Inhale, brings the hands up to the sky. Maybe you look up. Exhale, pulls that energy back down into active squat. Inhale, place the hands to your mat. And exhale, steps the left foot, then the right foot, downward facing dog. We're gonna repeat that same little sequence on the left side. Press down into the right foot, lift the left foot, inhaling, and exhale, big step left foot to the outside of the left hand. Pause. Stamping down into the left foot, stamping down into the right arm, twist and lift up through the left hand, spreading through the collarbones, reach that hand up, rolling the shoulders onto the back body. Take a few breaths here. Always coming back to the breath. And exhale, brings the left hand back to the mat, lifting up the back right knee. Big step of the right foot to the outside of the right hand. Pause. On your next inhale, come into active squat. Exhale, pulls the hands to heart center. Inhale, lifts the hands up to the sky. Exhale, pulls you back into active squat. Inhale, place the hands, step right foot and left foot, downward facing dog. We're gonna take a vinyasa here, so choose your game, yogi's choice. Inhaling high onto the toes. Exhale, bend the knees, roll all the way into the top of your plank pose. Pause. Drop knees, full push up, back to the top of a plank. Sit back to the heels, drop the forearms, pull yourself all the way through upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. We're just gonna speed this up a little bit, adding in one slight change. So lifting the right foot up to the sky. Exhale, steps the right foot to the outside of the right hand. Pause here. Exhale, drops the left knee. Inhaling, stretch across the collarbones, lifting the right hand up to the sky, taking a slight twist. Exhale, bring that right hand, listen closely. Just shift the weight back. We're coming into half Hanuman, half split. And again, straight is relative to your body. So maybe you have a deep bend in that right knee here. Let this be more of about a fold, folding at the hips, flicking that tailbone back, finding that line of tension. Find something interesting here. Stretching the heart out towards the top of your mat, keeping that long spine. Not forcing the leg to be straight. Pressing down through the right heel, keeping those toes flexed back towards your right knee. Maybe you hinge, maybe you fidget. And again, make those fidgets intentional. Sometimes we need to find stillness and other times we need to fidget. So just make them intentional, make them on purpose. Maybe you move your hips. That changes the sensation. And on your next exhale, stamp back into that right foot, lift the back left knee, hands planted to the mat. And on your next exhale, big step, left foot outside of left hand. Inhale brings you into that active squat, pulling the knees apart, shoulders on the back body. Exhale, stand straight, hands at heart center. Inhale, lifts the hands up to the sky. Exhale brings you back into active squat. Inhale, place the hands to the mat, step back, left foot, right foot, downward facing dog. Inhaling, lifting the left leg up. Exhale, big step, left foot outside of left hand. Drop the back knee, pause here. Inhale, stretch across the collarbones, lifting the left hand up to the sky. Take a few breaths here. When in doubt, add breath. Where can you add more breath? Where can you send your breath? And on your next exhale, gently just shift the hips back, straightening again relative to your body, that left leg, flexing the toes, pulling them back towards your left knee. And maybe your feet aren't on the mat. Allow this to be a shape that fits your body. In yoga, there is this word alignment that always seems to make people feel as though their body has to fit this practice. And in the Awakening Yoga Solar practice, it is quite the opposite. We change the poses, we modify, and we make the poses fit our bodies. So if there's stuff in the way, move around until it's not there. Get stuff out of the way. Everybody's predisposition is different and mostly impacted from what we did when we were between the ages of 17 and around 15 years old. So just allow this to feel good. Find that interesting spot and maybe you linger there, or maybe you move around and you fidget. Just a few more moments here. And on your next exhale, stamp into the left foot, big step, right foot outside of right hand. Pause here. Inhale, spread the knees wide, active squat, shoulders on the back body. Exhale to stand, hands to heart center. Inhale, lifts the hands up, slight back bend. Exhale, brings you back down into active squat. Harness that energy at heart center. Inhale, place the hands down. Right foot steps back, left foot steps back, downward facing dog. Pause here for a breath. Inhaling and exhale. Maybe you sigh it out. Let's do one more cleansing breath like that together. Inhaling. Exhale, sigh it out. Pressing firmly into the hands. We'll take a vinyasa rising high onto the toes. Exhale, bend the knees and undulate the spine forward, top of a plank. Drop the knees, full push-up, top of a push-up. Sit back to the heels, forearms drop. Inhale, pulls you through to upward facing dog. Linger here a moment. Feel into the spine. Whether your knees are dropped, you can drop them. Just press the toenails into the ground, press the thighs together, squeeze the glutes, squeeze the thighs, slight bend in the elbows, pull the shoulders on the back body, and reach the top of the head towards the ceiling. Breathe into those sticky places here. And on your next exhale, press back, child's pose. Letting the practice wash over you, allowing yourself to infuse this practice with your breath. We'll take one more of the awakening A's, and we'll do it at a slightly faster pace. So on your next exhale, press back to downward facing dog. So we'll inhale the right foot up to the sky. Exhale, steps the right foot to the outside of the right hand, drop the back knee. Inhale, stretch wide across the collarbones, lifting the right hand up to the sky. Exhale, pulls the right leg back, half split. Inhale, stamp down into that right foot. Exhale, step the left foot outside of left hand. Inhaling, coming into our active squat. Exhale, straighten the legs, hands to heart center. Inhale, reaches the hands up to the sky, stretch, reach up. Exhale, pulls that energy back into active squat. Inhaling, hands to the mat, steps left foot, right foot, downward facing dog. No pause. Inhale, lifting the left foot up to the sky. Exhale, step that left foot to the outside of the left hand, drop the back knee. Inhaling, reaches across the collarbones, stretch up, reach up. Exhale, pulls the left leg straight, half Hanuman, half split. Inhale, stamp down into the left foot, big step, right foot outside of right hand. On your next inhale, pull yourself into active squat. Exhale, straighten the legs, hands heart center. Inhale, reach up, lift up, stretch up tall. Exhale, pulls you back through active squat. Inhale, place the hands down. Right foot steps back, left foot steps back, downward facing dog. Still no pause. High up onto the toes, bend the knees, undulate the spine forward, top of a push-up. Maybe you drop your knees, or maybe you take a full push-up. Back to the top of a plank. Drop your knees, heels sit to butt. Excuse me, butt sits to heels. Drop the forearms, pull yourself through, upward facing dog. Exhale, sits you back to your heels. Great job, everybody. Allow yourself to close the eyes here and let the palms face up. Allowing yourself to come back to the breath. Allowing the practice to steep like an herb in water. Allowing those sensations, that heat that we've just built with our awakening A's to wash over you, and feel your heartbeat. Taking those cleansing breaths, sighing it out if that's what you need. Taking those fidgets, maybe a yawn. Allow yourself to come back to the breath. We will be taking a modified version of the Awakening Warrior series. So just listen closely for the modifications and watch me if you're unsure, and we'll take it slow. So when you are ready, press back into downward facing dog. I'm going to use my blocks just to help me get some extra compression. You don't need these by any means. They're just help the step forward, step backs to become a little more available. So in your downward facing dog, press into the left foot, rise the right foot up and back behind you. Exhale, we're stepping the right foot in between the hands this time. And when you get there, just pause, wiggling the left toes back if you need more room, and stamping down into that right foot. Swivel the left foot to the back right side of the mat, bringing it to a 45-degree angle. We're going towards warrior two. Circle sweep the arms back up, and maybe you just start by lunging and straightening into that right knee. Pull that right hip back behind you, stamp down through the outer edge of your left foot over into the right big toe, sitting deeper and deeper into the knee. Pulling that right hip back behind you. And when you feel comfortable, sit into the pose. And here I like to think about being I'm at a loss for words of what this is. The cardinal directions, the north, south, east, and west. Words are hard for me right now. But reach the right hand towards the front of the room and reach the left hand back. Reach into the front, sit into the back. Be here for 3, steady breaths for 2, and on 1. Listen carefully. Bring both hands down to the mat, swivel those left toes back to the front of the room and drop the left knee. Just taking some lunges into that front knee, feeling into that right hamstring. And when you're ready, stamp back down into that right foot, lift the back toes up off the mat and swivel that knee back behind you, creating a sort of kickstand with your foot. We are coming into our side angle pose. Place that right hand anywhere that suits you, that allows you to keep that spine elongated, pressing down through the left knee, left shin, right foot, and lift the hand up towards the sky. Modified side angle pose. Taking a few breaths here to just navigate this posture. It's a little different being on the floor than typically being up on both feet. Stretch into that inner thigh. Maybe you feel the stretch in your left outer thigh and that left hip. Just find some space here. Shining the collarbones out and in front of you. And on your next exhale, use a little bit of strength in the belly to just push down through that right foot, straightening the right leg. Maybe coming up onto your heels, pointing your toes to the sky, finding a modified Trikonasana. Reach the right hand out in front of you, elongate it, pull that right hip back, and place the hand maybe on your shin, maybe on the mat on fingertips, or maybe you flatten the hand. And spin the left hand up to the sky, reach across the collarbones. Maybe your gaze looks up, or maybe to the side. Wherever the neck feels comfortable, just keep pulling that right hip back and underneath you. Taking a few breaths here. Don't let that right hand be idle wherever it is. Make sure it's straight. Don't walk out the elbow, but put some vigor into that arm, spinning the shoulder blades onto the back body. Being here for 3, for 2, and 1. Listen closely. Place the left hand back to the ground. Swivel your left leg back so it's underneath you, tucking the toes, and just simply bring that right foot back and underneath you, tabletop. We'll take a few rounds of cat-cow here just to neutralize the spine and let this first side of our warrior series wash through. Inhaling, reaches the crown of the head towards the front of the room. Shine the collarbones. Exhale, tucks it in. Inhale, pulls the heart through. Exhale, brings it in. Inhale, reach the collarbones out. Exhale, press away. Downward facing dog. Switching sides. Inhale, left foot up to the sky. Exhale, step the left foot inside the left hand. Wiggle those right toes back. Pause here, just get yourself situated, and then drop that right heel down, 45-degree angle. And take your time. Give yourself some patience to come into this shape. Although this is a widely known shape. Even if you've never practiced yoga before, this is something that maybe you've heard of before. So just give some bends and straightens into that left knee, just feeling it out, finding your warrior two, pulling that left hip back and that shining that right inner thigh forward, almost as if you're going to scrub the mat up and scrunch it together without actually moving your feet. And whenever you're ready, spread the arms. Warrior two, pressing down through that outer edge of your right foot, keeping that connection to the back leg. Stretching that left arm forward, pulling the right arm back. It's almost as if we're stretching into the future, stretching into the past, and then sitting in our head, our shoulders, our torso are in the present moment. So can we find a balance? Can we be that center? Can we be in this present moment? This pose, although it's familiar, it is very hard, very difficult. There's a lot of moving parts. Finding awareness, perseverance. Be here for 3. Calm, steady breaths for 2. And 1. Listen closely. Bring the hands to the mat and swivel those right toes back towards the top of the mat, dropping that right knee, finding those same hinges forward, backwards that you did on the right side. And when you are ready, swiveling that right foot up and kick, standing it right behind you, underneath the back right hip, coming into our modified side angle. Hand anywhere that feels comfortable for you, maybe forearm on top of the shin, shining those collarbones forward, allowing you to keep the spine elongated and reach the hands up. Not allowing your arm to take that weight, keeping that strength in the legs, scrubbing them back and underneath, pulling everything towards center. Exhale. Use the strength of the belly to pull you back. We'll take a modified Trikonasana, a modified triangle pose. Again, reach the left arm out and pull that left hip back. Reach, reach, reach. Place the hand where it feels comfortable for you. Press down through that left hand or left fingertips. Roll that left shoulder, back body, and stretch and reach the right arm up. Noticing the difference between your left and right side here. Staying strong in that back right shin. Pulling that left hip, those left toes back. Staying here for 5, for 4, for 3, 2, and 1. Drop that right hand back to the mat. Swivel that right knee back towards the top of the mat and just gently pull the left knee back and underneath you. Taking those cat-cows once more, just to stretch out the spine. Take a few on your own. And again, maybe you move here. Maybe you just barrel roll through the spine a little bit. Creating some circles, finding a shape that feels good. Just find those fidgets, find those movements, and do them on purpose. One more full inhale here. And exhale, downward facing dog. We'll inhale, lift the right foot back up to the sky. And exhale, pulls it through, steps the right foot in between the right hand, drop the back left knee. We're gonna come into our twisted lizard lunge. So if it feels okay for your foot to be a little bit closer to the middle of your mat, please feel free to stay there. But for me, I always find it helpful to wiggle that right foot out towards the righter edge of my mat Coming onto the left hand or left fingertips, we're gonna bend through the back left knee and reach the right arm back, catching the left foot. If you can't catch the left foot, stay here, just trying to pull that left heel into your butt. You got the harder job if you're there. Grabbing the left foot, kick a little bit back into that right hand and spin the chest up. Twisted lizard lunge. My teachers call this the everything asana, kind of like an everything bagel, just because you kind of get into a little bit of everything here. You're twisting through the chest, you're opening up a slight back bend, you're getting a stretch through the outer right hip, inner left hip. Maybe you feel this in your thigh. Maybe you feel this in the hamstring. Keeping those shoulders rolled down the back body, maintaining that elongation of the spine, the chest towards the top of the mat. Just a few more breaths here. Make this feel good. Let this pose feel good. And on your exhale, slowly release the back foot. Try not to slingshot. Bring the right hand back to the mat, left leg back to the mat. And we're just going to bring the right knee back and underneath you, downward facing dog. We're gonna switch our sides. Left foot up to the sky. Exhale, pulls the left foot to the left thumb, dropping the back knee. And again, coming into the twisted lizard lunge, sliding that left foot out if that feels good for you. Spin and reach the left hand up, all the way back to catch the right foot. Gently kicking back into the hand, stretching across the collarbones, expanding the breath through the collarbones. Creating the space, opening up. Keeping the shoulders down the back body. And on your next exhale, slowly release the back foot, bringing the left hand back to the mat. And just step the left knee back to meet the right. And from here, we'll meet in tabletop. And I want you to bring your left hand to the center of the mat, right underneath the chest. And then just lift up, up, up through the right side. And then just thread your right arm underneath the left, coming into a slight stretch of the outer shoulders and the back. You can place the head onto the mat and press through those left fingertips, pulling the hips back and underneath you, breathing into the back of the heart. Finding some moments here to recalibrate, to stretch across the back body. Taking one more inhale here. And exhale pulls you back to center. Taking the same thing with the left side. Place the right hand in the center underneath the chest. And we'll just reach that left arm up, up, up to the sky. And then exhale, thread the needle. Thread your left arm right under the right arm. You can come up onto the right fingertips. Allow the head to gently sink to the mat. And I find it helps to press through those left fingertips. Pressing down through the left hand, feel quite a bit of stretch for me in the upper back, even through the lower back a little bit. Pulling those hips back and up behind you. And just breathe. Taking one more moment here. Inhale. And exhale brings you back to hands and knees. Press back, downward dog. We'll take one more vinyasa here just to close off the strength part of this practice. Inhale, up high onto the toes. Exhale, bend the knees. Undulate the spine forward, pressing down through the hands. Pause in plank. Press the heels towards the back of the mat. Suck in the lower belly. Knit the upper ribs in, pressing down through the shoulders. Creating space in the back body. Try to press through the ground. Press your shoulders in. Stay here for 5, for 4. Squeeze everything in for 3, for 2. Take your vinyasa. Full push-up. Knees drop. Sit the butt back to the heels. Forearms drop. Pull yourself in to upward facing. Pause here. Exhale, child's pose. And from here, we're just going to take a gentle full pigeon. So you can just slide that right shin a little bit forward. You can keep it at a 45 if that feels good for you. Or if you're able to, like in the beginning, we did the double seated pigeon. Make that shin parallel to the top of your mat. Or of course, just stay in that 45, flexing the toes back, protecting that knee. Maybe you don't go into your deepest, but just try to sit up, scrubbing the back left thigh toward the front right knee, trying to scrunch up the mat, keep the headlights of the hips towards the front of the mat, squaring them off. Take an inhale here, and it feels good for you. Exhale, fold down. Trying to keep pulling that right hip back, elongating the crown of the head, the collarbones towards the top of your mat. And we're going to be here for just a little bit longer to linger, closing off our practice, feeling the yumminess and the space that we've created in our hips, the heat that we've created to top us in the body. Maybe you close your eyes here, or maybe you steady your gaze, steady your drishti out somewhere in front of you. Maybe you make a little pillow with your hands, laying your forehead down. This pose can be quite a bit for most people. And it's easy to want to fidget here, but right now I challenge you to just find some stillness. If you need to fidget, by all means, that is absolutely welcome. But allow yourself to make the effort to find some stillness. Sitting into those feelings that might be coming up, allowing these emotions and these physical sensations to flood over the body. Allow the entire practice to flood over the body. Just be here for 5. Slow, steady breaths for 4, for 3, for 2, and on 1, we're just going to gently walk the hands back underneath the shoulders. Press firmly down and gently try to come out of this posture. We're just going to switch our legs. Just pulling the left shin up towards the top of the mat. Finding what's comfortable for you. Find your edge here. Keeping those toes flexed protecting the knee, scrubbing left knee, right knee towards one another, like you're gonna scrunch up the mat between the legs, squaring off the hips. Sit up tall for a moment. Inhale. And exhale, gently fold down into the shape. Pressing down through the left shin. Just noticing, observing, knowing that there's no right or wrong way to be right now, no right or wrong way to be breathing. My teacher always says that yoga is not a performance, it is an informance, right? We're always collecting new information from our bodies, new sensations, and that's all it is information. Noticing our differences from the left and right, allowing them to be what they are. In this introverted nature, allow yourself to sink just a little bit deeper, feel just a little bit deeper, and then send your breath there. Send your breath to those sensations. Maybe coming back to the Ujjayi pranayama, that oceanic quality, that audible breath. This pose can feel a little bit agitating and make you want to come out. But again, I challenge you to stay and to be in the stillness and use the breath to self-soothe. Just staying here for 5, for 4, for 3, 2, and 1. Gently walk the hands back and underneath you. Swing that left knee slowly, gently, with grace, back into our tabletop, and just swivel the legs out to one side. We'll come onto our backs. We're just going to take a few closing postures here in a supine position. Just pull the knees into the chest, grounding the shoulders. And just gently drop the knees over to the right side. Bringing the left arm out to the left side and placing the head anywhere it feels good. Allowing the left side body to open up. Maybe close down the eyes here as we bring the physical practice to an end. Deep belly breaths. Bringing the knees back through center, dropping them over to the left side. Placing that right hand stretched out to the right side, allowing the head to find a comfortable position. Breathing now into the right side body. I want to bring us back to the word release. Has that meaning changed for you at all? Are the thoughts altered for you at all? Are you able to finally give that last bit of maybe not even letting completely go, or just loosening the grip on something? Maybe that was some tension, or maybe you have something really big you're trying to let go of and move through, and that's okay. Just loosening the grip. allowing yourself to drop in right here, right now, into this present moment, pulling the knees back in towards the chest, wrapping the forearms around the knee, squeezing into a tight little ball. Squeeze your toes, your feet, your ankles, your shins. Pull everything into the tightest little ball. Squeeze your face. Find that tension. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release into our final death pose, Shavasana. Letting the arms splay out wide, the legs stretch out in front of you, allowing the feet to splay out wide. Fidget around until you find a comfortable Shavasana. Close down the eyes. Allow the practice to wash over you. And in this moment, instead of breathing, let yourself be breathed. Finding a short body scan, checking in with each piece of the body, noticing the sensations in your toes, maybe outlining the body with a white light, finding every little corner of the body, tracing outside your shins, outside the knees, the white light working its way up to the thighs, the hips, tracing your torso, up in between your arms and around your fingers, up to your neck, finally reaching the crown of the head. And let that white light shine bright. In the same way we traced from our toes, allow the white light to wash back down like a warm liquid coming over the body. Allow yourself to feel this gratitude for coming onto your mat today and for showing up and doing the work, for connecting, for this little bit of time together, for allowing our humanness to show just for a little while. Keeping the mind soft. And when you are ready, slowly roll over to one side, gently coming back up to a soft, easy seat, keeping the eyes closed. Allowing a few minutes just to arrive here, to arrive at the end of practice, the end of our freedom of expression and movement. Bringing your hands back to heart center. Bowing the chin, lifting the chest up, and feel your own touch. The finger pads, the knuckle pads, and the palms of the hands. Feel your thumbs press into your heart center and feel your heartbeat. You are visible proof of magic. You are visible proof of magic. Every time we step onto our mats, we practice out of a love for ourselves with a desire to know the truth of our own being and with a longing to benefit all beings in all times and spaces. We practice simply because it is our nature to do so. There is no separation. It is just a way of life. Thank you so much for practicing with me tonight, for allowing me to just be a small part in your evening. The light in the teacher in me recognizes and sees the light in the teacher in all of you. Thank you so much. Bringing the hands to third eye center, and together we say, Namaste.
Thank you,
Thank
Alex.
you all. Yeah, thank you all so, so much.
And thank you, everyone, for attending. And Alex, if people want to find you online, where can they find you?
I think, did I send you over my Instagram name?
Okay.
If they want
I
to
think it's
find
on
me, it's
the
just
Eventbrite in our website.
yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Thank you, everybody, and have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much.
Have a good night.
Thank you.